Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to MASL in the Box Live with your hosts, Adam, Matt, and Gio.
Everybody get...
Good evening. We are live.
Good evening. Yes, we
MASL
are.
in the Box, April 12th, 2021, with Matt, Adam, and a random corn dog.
Yeah, we don't know who the corn dog is. They just kind of showed up. So, random corn dog, if you have anything to say during this, just let us know. Oh, good. We're already starting.
We have already started.
Well, I did say that we would do this for 2 hours. You would just keep pushing hotkeys for 2 hours. Because
Yes.
there's nothing really to talk about this week. So,
Nothing really happened this week.
yeah, nothing at all. So,
They put off the finals, and now we gotta wait a week to do, for anything neat to happen. I will say I have another hotkey that's gonna come. Everybody, focus on the lower right corner there. Ta-da! I don't
What
have
is
fancy
that?
music for it. Did you see it?
Oh, I saw something scroll over, but what is it?
Subscribe button.
Oh, wow. That is fancy.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
I figured out how to do that. So subscribe if you aren't. I think everyone here is probably subscribed. We have some new sound effects.
Wait, so I think we should ask Nick Vassos why the viewers out there should subscribe.
It's a really good question. Nick, what do you have to say on that?
No. All right.
That sounds just like
if
the
that's
phone.
not good enough, I don't know what to tell
Yeah, I don't know. If that doesn't get you to subscribe, I don't know what will.
you. Right.
So how's everyone out there in MASL fan land? Hopefully everyone's doing good.
Yes, hopefully. I got to tell you, it reached 80 degrees here in upstate New York on Saturday.
Wow.
And it is now down to like 50 and raining. So
Yeah, we hit 80 a couple weeks ago, and now it's back down. We had a big storm blow through, and now it's down. It's going to get back into the 40s this week.
yeah, I wish I had my golf clubs, but they are up at my parents' house, and I haven't gone up there. I'm kind of steering clear of my parents' house at this point. So
I've all my fishing gear is like right outside my room here, and I haven't done anything this year, respooling reels or anything like that. I have no idea where all my tackle is, what I have, what I need, nothing. And like we could have gone out 2 or 3 times already.
yeah, I could have gone golfing a couple of times.
Yeah. What are you gonna do?
Go up to my parents. Actually, my mom's going to bring down my clubs, hopefully. And then I'll be able to go.
So we only have 6 concurrent people right now. What's the difference between a concurrent person and a non-concurrent person?
I'm going to say that non-part in the front of it.
So, starting... Oh, wait. Oh, that's awesome. So the Sharon says, here's my endorsement. Up until this season, I've lived in the West Coast soccer bubble. In the Box has given me a perspective of other teams in the league and expanded my knowledge of the game. That's awesome. That's what we're here for. Yeah. I don't know how to do that.
Well, I did it. I did it for you.
I'll just give her this.
Corn dogs, Jackie. Corn dogs for all these people.
Yeah, it's probably good.
That'll work.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's why we're doing this. I mean, yeah, our teams, we have our favorite teams, but at the same time, we like following all teams, which is why we went to the All-Star game, which is why I represented us in Kansas City, and then I'm not gonna say anything else.
Yeah, unfortunately, Gio won't be with us. He had unexpected complications. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So there's that. I'm still a fan of the sport. I mean, if it weren't for the show, I don't know what I would have done this season. A bunch of my Wave friends haven't watched the game, haven't really cared. Some of them only watched once the playoffs came in, figuring, okay, well, I don't have to navigate anything else. And if it weren't for the show and it weren't for the group, I might have not watched anything, because in my life, I've been trying to simplify things and cutting things out that are just complete waste of time that I don't gain anything from. Now, if it's a complete waste of time that I get something out of, like all my music stuff, that's one thing. But if it's a complete waste of time that I don't get anything out of, then I learned to cut those things out. Used to play a whole ton of online poker, and I got to the point where my hourly rate was like less than if I was 15 years old and had a paper route. And it was like, well, I'm not really having any fun playing. It was fine breaking even and still having fun. It was really fun winning a whole bunch of money when people had no idea what they were doing. But I just decided to cut that whole thing out of my life, and I had all these hours to spend doing other stuff, like not doing any fishing stuff that I should be doing.
Yeah.
So anyway,
So do we start? I mean,
so
do we kind of segue into the finals and what's going on? Or?
I mean, we talked about the finals last week. I think everybody except for Gio picked Ontario. Did you pick Ontario or San Diego?
I really forgot who I picked at this point.
I don't remember.
I think I would probably say Ontario.
So that's really all we did. We kind of talked about who we thought would win in games. If you guys haven't heard, the Soccer Sam stepped up and sponsored the finals, so they're going to be free to watch. I think that's awesome.
Which is great, but I'm still waiting for an answer from him. If I live, let's say, within an hour of Rochester and wanted to watch the finals, would I be able to get a free pizza or some donuts so I can take back to the house to watch the game?
Pizza and donuts would be an amazing comment. Those pizzas in that commercial look really good.
Yeah, and I've never had one.
Yeah. Well, me neither, and I probably never will.
So it's funny. When we were in Kansas City, when I was in Detroit, it was Tommy, Soccer Sam, and myself. Tommy and I were waiting for our flight, and Sam had a flight to Rochester. And he asked me, he goes, so how far is it from, or he said something like, how far is it from your house to the airport? I'm like, oh, it's like half hour, 35 minutes or something like that. And I go, fun fact, I live closer to Rochester than I do Utica. which is true. It's about an hour drive to Rochester from here.
Oh.
Yeah.
So they could have games at your house, and it would be right in the middle of both. And you have a big enough place for like a blast size field in there, right?
A couple of them, yeah.
Yeah. So maybe we'll get into. Should we get into the awards?
Yeah. Let's do that. I mean, we went over the whole. It's going to be free for everyone to watch, which is great. I mean, especially after, if it's going to be like the semifinals, I think it's a perfect way to end the season. And I think the exposure will be great. So
yeah, I mean, I have we made all of our picks, but none of us actually have a team in this. I don't really. I maybe have a preference here or two, but I think I have as many preferences for both teams. I just want to see a good game.
I do remember. I did pick Ontario. I said my heart was with San Diego because Ben Raymond's on the team.
Okay.
So if San Diego wins, the Ron Newman Cup will eventually come to Utica or Syracuse.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
Ontario's going to win.
I know a bunch of Wave fans are rooting for Marcio and San Diego. If he were to win, do you think he could just bring the cup to Milwaukee and we just hold it hostage because that's where it should be in the first place?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
And then if he were to lose, he can just win one next season in black and yellow.
Well, there you go. Yeah.
Seems reasonable to me.
Ooh, so one more question going into the finals. So I know Jonathan Reimer and Philly have bets going between themselves about what color shirt, Superman shirt, Nestor Hernandez will wear. Should we also predict that?
I think we should. I think Jonathan had an unfair advantage because he always interviewed him before the game. And you can kind of tell, especially when he's wearing the white jersey, what jersey he has underneath there.
Yep.
So let's see. We have 2 games. Who is listed as the home team for game 1? Sockers are. So does that mean they'll wear the blue and yellow and Ontario wear white?
I think so, yeah.
Or do you think they'll wear their home jerseys for both?
I would imagine.
It's a different enough color that it doesn't really matter. You don't really need light and dark.
Yeah.
All right. So how about I'll pick for the first game and you can pick for the second game first, at least.
Okay.
So I'm going to say black for the first game. So now you do 2 picks in a row.
I was going to say black, but hang on, let me just text Nestor. Hang on one second.
Hey, no.
I'm gonna go red for game 1, and I'm gonna go black game 2.
Well, then we'll just flip them. I'll do black. I'll do red for game 2 then.
All right.
Someone needs to remind us what we just said because we won't remember by this weekend.
I will remember.
Okay.
Hopefully. Yeah. Of course, we'll have to get clarification from Nestor Hernandez for that, and I can message him. And
are you gonna tell him when you message him? Are you gonna tell him what to wear? Because that's kind of cheating.
No.
Okay.
Absolutely not.
Right. He'll probably wear pink both games and just screw us both.
I got you guys.
Yeah. Right. All right, so Wednesday, the first of the all MASL awards came out. So we started with Rookie Team of the Year. We went to first, second, and third teams. Then we did all the individual awards, which they spread out over an excruciating 2-hour time gap all day Friday. There are a lot of interesting things that happen with these awards. Yes. I've been saying all season long, I don't know if I could pick a first, second, and third team. It's partly because I don't know enough of a lot of the play. I don't know enough of the play. Well, that's not even true. It's just a cop out because I don't want to. How's that?
No, sounds good.
Yeah. So, interesting things. First of all, they listed, and you can go to MASL.NSLsoccer.com in the news section. Any of these articles are all there. They listed out the percentages of and it says 2021 voting ballots submitted. Head coaches, 2.99%. Players, 88.06%. And team staff, 6.72%. So, what the hell does that mean? So I added them up, and it comes out to like 97.7%. So there's two explanations of what these things could mean. Either 2.99% of the total votes were head coaches, or of all the head coaches, 2.99% of the head coaches voted. So neither of those make sense because they don't add up to 100. The only way 2.99% of a head coach could vote would be if only one coach voted. And then you would have to say that 88.06% of the players voted, which is complete bullshit right there. There's no way that happened. I can guarantee that didn't happen.
Let's just say, in a perfect season, in a normal season, there are 17 teams.
Yes.
1 divided by 17 is not close to 2%.
Right.
Or 3%.
Right.
You're looking at probably about a little less than 6%.
Yes.
I think it's like 5.9 something.
And 1 divided by 7 is even more than that.
Yes. 1 divided by 20 is even more than that.
Yes. So I asked the league, and I'm gonna refrain from naming the person I asked for their own lack of embarrassment. And I said, what do the numbers mean? Basically just, and this person said, it's pretty misleading. It would be 2.99% of the total vote were coaches, 88 player plus 7% staff equals 97% total voter turnout from eligible candidates. That doesn't help. So I don't understand because I know Sydney either last year or the year before figured out like what percentage of the players voted based on these numbers. These numbers don't make any sense at all. I've heard a number of things from players that a lot of the players just throw the ballots out because it's too long and too complicated and just they don't want to take the time to do it. And then if you read, I'm going to go on a little poetry reading here. Calculating the first, second, and third all MASL teams are based on a point system. Players receive 3 points for a first team vote, 2 points for a second team, and 1 point for a third team vote. The highest number of points is then calculated to determine 3 forward/midfielders in each team, then 2 defenders, then 1 goalkeeper. In the case of a tie in points, it is determined by who had more first team votes than second team. The all-rookie team is selected by the highest vote totals by position. Individual major awards are based on the current number of total votes. Tiebreakers go to the player with the most all-league points, or it can be determined a tie. What the fuck does that mean? Matt, you can wake up now.
Oh, good. So could you have Nick Vassos translate what you just said?
Thank
you. Yeah. So yeah. Yes. Right. So I think that is something the MASL definitely needs to work on, because I know you're trying to explain how it happens, but it's just mind-boggling. You'd have to have some sort of like calculus degree, and
like is Nick Pereira the only player qualified with enough education to be able to fill the full ballot out?
I don't know.
Why can't they just say vote for your player for each position, Give the highest number of points to the first team, second highest to the second team, third highest to the third team. Why is this like vote for the person who gets a first team for second team and third? Players don't care. They don't want to work on it. It's a popularity contest. We all know it. And we've heard stories from the players and fans who know the players and things like that, that things like one team will go all in and vote for all their players. Sure. I mean, obviously you want to see your players do well, but so they don't even let people vote on their own. They just say, hey, you are voting this way. Well, I mean, we're not in Germany or Russia, or China.
Yeah.
So,
I think the MASL should kind of maybe take a page out of, and me saying take something out of a blueprint is kind of crazy for me.
Template was the word, I think.
Yeah. Oh, template. Sorry. Major League Baseball. Have people that follow the sport, coaches, maybe owners, do a list. And first place gets, I forget how it is, but it's a point system basically. And base your teams off of that.
Yep. The other thing I wanted to get into, so people are saying, well, they shouldn't even had these teams because there weren't enough players, there weren't enough games. I think everyone's realized that the MASL wanted to make this as normal of a season as possible. So we were fully expecting rookie team, 3 all teams, defender, forward, rookie of the year, goalkeeper of the year, MVP, or whatever all the awards are, coach of the year. I think we're all expecting that. So that shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. No matter how they change this or how they keep doing it, it's never going to please anyone.
Right.
However, it would be really nice if they do change it, and this is kind of a plea to the MASL for next season, figure out what it's going to be before the season starts. That way everybody knows what the expectations are, and we don't get this convoluted description with percentages and nothing that makes no sense. And then when we ask about it, we get an answer that makes even less sense. I'd like to see, here's what the criteria is, so that we don't get a guy who played 1 game in the MASL all-rookie team.
Yeah, you bring up the all-rookie team, and I was kind of taken back a little bit that they actually did have that. I mean, rookie of the year, fine. But with the amount of loanees to the 7 teams, there wasn't a lot of opportunity for rookies to play this season.
Yeah.
Except in Kansas City. So I think rookie of the year, yes, should have happened. The MASL all rookie team, yeah.
Especially since, so you guys can put the numbers together here. So Dave said voting 25% coaches, 25% players, 25% media, 25% fans. Love it. Whatever works, something that works. And something that we know that we get a number that isn't obviously some kind of made up bullshit or like a 5th grader trying to flunk his first statistics class trying to figure out percents. Because that's what it looks like right now. But we see this team, so we've heard comments that teams all vote with each other. Like they get all the players together and they all vote on the same people. And then we get a guy with 1 game. Now granted, in that game he had 1 shot and a 1 goal, so his shooting percentage is 100%. Congratulations. But then he makes it to the rookie all team. So you wonder if the players from that team are the ones who are doing the voting all together.
Right. Yeah, I think they should have stuck with, of course next season's going to be different, but I think they should have just stuck with rookie of the year and not done a all rookie team.
Yeah.
Maybe just had the 6 rookies on a sheet of paper and you say, okay, well, pick one for Rookie of the Year.
The other thing is it doesn't seem to be a way to find out who is a rookie on the MASL site. Like you just kind of have to know. I don't know. I know some of them.
So next year, does he qualify as a rookie still? Because he only played one game?
And here's the thing. Stephen Patterson from Kansas City Comets won Rookie of the Year in his third year in the league, but he had less than 5 games played, which is what qualified him. So does that mean the two guys from St. Louis, one who made the team and one who made honorable mention, who played 1 and 2 games respectively, are they both eligible for winning this again next year? And if next year they only play 1 game, are they still eligible to make it the year after?
Well, I think, I mean, we hope that next year more teams will play.
I would hope so.
So there's more chances for rookies to shine.
Yeah. Couple other comments. People have said that the playoffs should be counted towards the awards because of the fact that it was a shortened season. And as I wrote this out, I said that's never been the case in any sport that I know of. Like these awards always are regular season only. And I think the main reason behind that is because the teams don't play the same number of games. Oh, wait.
Okay, so to answer that question, and I'm gonna say yes and no. So I think this year, yes, I think the playoffs should have counted towards the awards. Any other year, no.
So do you?
I think it should be regular season and playoffs.
But do you make it only the first round of the playoffs then? Because that's the same teams are in there. Because otherwise, what's going to happen is the teams who play more get the more scoring opportunities, and you wind up with awards from San Diego and Ontario flush with the awards.
Yeah, I mean it's pros and cons for both. So I'm kind of torn, but I think going forward, I think it should be playoffs and regular season separate.
I'm good with that.
Yeah.
So let's see, of all my notes. Oh, I had a note for someone specifically who posted all over the place that the MASL is a joke because a guy who played 1 game made the awards. My answer to that one person, who may or may not be related to a certain David Lee, lead singer of Van Halen.
Well, that person is no longer a part.
That person's no longer, but he is probably lurking. My question to you is, how does that hurt you? Show me on the dial where the all-rookie team list hurt you. Okay, that was awkward.
Yeah, but exactly, and we know the league is not perfect.
Oh yeah,
we know, and so I'm gonna go on a little rant here. And it's kind of to go back to my little commute that I had, my little video I had. Yeah, the MASL is not perfect. We know that. But we're here to give solutions to get it to where it needs to be. Saying the MASL sucks as a joke, this, that, and the other thing, you're not giving solutions or any sort of input, you're part of the problem.
Yep.
And we can say the voting system is all wacky. Here's how we can fix it. Here's how we the fans would like to see it. Or we're trying to throw ideas out there. We're not going to sit there and be like, oh well, this is a joke. Yeah. And for a couple of people that have made the negative comments, how many games did you actually see this year?
Well, and there's a certain one who's still in the group who admitted hasn't watched any of the games this year, and he's questioning who should win the awards. I have nothing. So yeah,
Well, I mean that's your own fault, and feel free to follow the other soccer leagues that are out there that may be forming that are not going to be named here.
by the way, I'm following up a lead, and I'm hoping to have some information soon on something related to that.
Yep.
Stay tuned. Meanwhile,
Yep.
subscribe.
Right now.
Click the like button. There's a like button. Click it.
So
When you click the like
okay,
button,
so-
it shows YouTube that we should be shown more, and it'll show our videos more or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know the whole thing.
It's magic.
So speaking of the rookie team, do we want to talk about the Rookie of the Year award?
We will talk about the awards. Let me make sure I got all my notes covered. I think I did. I got that.
Good segue into the Rookie of the Year.
Before we okay, no, you know what? After I have one more thing to say about this whole thing, but it'll be after we talk about the individual awards.
Okay.
So yeah, no, this and that, yeah, that. Playoffs. See, that I don't have on here. I need a couple more.
What the heck?
I know.
On the thing you posted, and I wrote fart noises. So I guess I gotta man the fart noises.
Everyone can have their own soundboard. Yours will just be a soundboard of one.
Yeah, I'll just have the fart gun next to me.
Yeah. All right. So all rookie team, closing it down. Do we want to talk about the first, second, and third teams, or do we want to just talk about the individual?
Why don't we do? Well, we talked about the rookie team. Why don't we talk about the Rookie of the Year, and then we'll talk about the three teams, and then we'll talk about their individual awards.
Okay.
So it was Lucas Sosa, I think, won Rookie of the Year. Which,
yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, we kind of knew it was coming. I think it came down to him and Rian Marquez. Both had great years. But I think the random corn dog up in this side got it right. I think he might have called it earlier this season. So
I think coming into the season, especially when we talked to Eric in the offseason, Eric Bergerwood, he said that he'll be a Rookie of the Year contender for sure. Coming into the season, he started out pretty slow. And it didn't really click. And there was a point where Rian was the absolute number one contender. I think there's a case to say Rian could have won it.
Oh, absolutely. I think it's 1A, 1B. To be honest with you, I mean, they both contributed quite a bit to the success of the Kansas City Comets.
Yep. I think without either of them, the team is much worse off. With both of them, they're much stronger.
Yep.
But with either one of them, they would still be strong. I mean, they'd still be in a much better place. But yeah, I'm good with how it was announced. I don't think there were. The only other person in the running was Bruno Henrique from the Tropics, and while he did stand out in a couple games, I don't think he really stood out enough.
I think he was injured also towards the end of the season.
Yeah, that probably didn't help either.
That didn't help either. Yeah.
So, all right. So, Rookie of the Year. Next one is, what was it? Was it Coach?
Yeah, we can do Coach. Yeah.
Let's do, right before we do the MVP, we'll do the special award.
All right.
Coach of the Year, Jimmy Norberg. Absolutely.
Yes.
Here we go.
Well, you already know what I'm gonna say.
You're gonna say, well, see,
that's yeah. So
I know what you're gonna say.
I think I would 100% agree. Jimmy Nordberg, great job. My vote probably would have gone to the duo of Leo Gibson and Stefan Stokic.
So you brought that up the other night on the phone, and that was really interesting because I would have never even thought Stokic would be in the running because he's not a head coach. But then you started saying how involved he was. He did all the halftime interviews. He did all of the bench coaching. 100% of the bench coaching was him. Because last year they had Alan Matingu.
Alan Matingu, yeah.
And I don't think he had anywhere near the impact that Stokic did.
Or passion. Like, you saw it. If you were there, I witnessed it, like, from me to my living room away from Stefan Stokic. Every time they scored, he was just like on the glass, like shaking the glass, just so excited about.
What was he doing in your living room when you were supposed to be watching games at Kansas City?
What was he doing? Well, I don't know. He didn't have any parties or anything. But yeah, I think out of all of the teams, I think Kansas City, I won't say they exceeded my expectations. Like, I knew Florida was going to do good. I knew Ontario was going to do good. Like, Kansas City was like we've seen them play 500 soccer over the last couple of years. So it's like,
I'll say it one more. I should have this on a hotkey. They reminded me of the team that used to wipe the wave up and down the field every year in the 2012, 2013, 2014, those years.
Yeah, and they played with rookies. Like 50% of the all rookie team was Kansas City Comets.
Steve, Gio was not able to make it tonight. He had an unexpected family issue. I do not know what his status is for this weekend. We'll leave it at that.
We would ask the random corn dog, but he hasn't really said much tonight. So
random corn dog's answer is
corn dogs, Jackie. Corn dogs for all these people.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
What else would happen?
Yeah. But yeah. So if I was, it's funny. I was thinking about it tonight at work. I probably would have gone with. I think Jimmy Norberg would have finished second in my book. I think it would have went Leo and Stefan Stokic, Jimmy Nordberg, Clay Roberts.
What if it was only head coaches only, without considering assistants at all?
Then Jimmy Nordberg, 100%.
One of the things that really, really showed through, and they Philly and Panda showed it. Brad says, "Come on, guys! Coach of the year should have been Simone Boses."
Yeah, he would have. It was close between Clay Roberts and Simone Boses. I mean, the records. Clay had a little bit better. But yeah.
How many teams were in the league this year? 7. Boses was a solid 8th place. So there we go. And I don't want to joke about that. I mean, the guy. You never want to see somebody lose their job, but the guy is the owner. So it's not like he's losing a paycheck. He's losing a little bit of dignity, but I think he would get a lot of respect as an owner if he replaced himself as coach.
He's losing a lot of fans too.
Yes.
The further he goes with this, the less fans he's going to have.
Definition of insanity. Doing the same thing and expecting different results, and now he's done it 4 or 5 years in a row or whatever it's been. And
yeah.
I mean.
Ooh, I have a suggestion for a hotkey. The Price is Right horn.
Okay. I can't do it now. I gotta search around for him. No. It takes a while.
But yeah, no, that's one of my favorite hotkeys of all time.
So right now I'm using, and I can't show you this. If you can look through my camera and look down. Can I get a mirror? I don't have a mirror. I'm using my number pad, which only has 9 keys on it. There are standalone devices where you can program to do anything, and I also have an app for my phone I can program it to do almost anything. So. I just haven't done it, and I thought 9 would be enough, but I mean, you can't get rid of this. You can't get rid of this. I do have this on a different hotkey, so subscribe and But anyway,
That would be. So I don't know if Christine or Dave Kovaleski are watching, but
Dave,
that would
I
be
think is.
that would be a great drinking game. Every time that pops up,
Oh, I could kill people. I mean, I have the power to
you
kill.
probably could, yeah.
So, when Feeling Panda said that the team was well conditioned and kind of joked when they, well, we run and then we run some more and then when we're done with that, we run. And you could definitely tell it in those long games against Kansas City because there was one team still in that mini game. They gave up the first goal and then like turn on another gear that I didn't even think was there.
They spent. So I got to watch Ontario's practice Saturday, the Saturday before game 2, and they ran and ran and ran. And I think it was about an hour of warm up and then 30 minutes of just focusing on certain stuff.
Wow.
It was crazy.
Let's give a shout out to Everton as well. He's one of our favorite people, and he may show up in a different segment down the road a little bit here, where we may give out let's give out our own awards tonight.
Yeah,
I like
it.
But I think Everton. I don't know that Everton had the same lineup until the playoffs for 2 games in a row. I think with all the COVID battles and the injury battles and all the other problems that he didn't have the same lineup on the field until the playoffs. Still made the first 500 season.
We also have to give him credit. He did dethrone the Tropics and gave them their first loss.
He did.
So the talent is there. It's just that their team was bitten by the injury bug a little bit.
Yeah, and he said in his interview over the summer that what piece do you need? This is before he stole Max from us, and he said, I don't really think I need anyone. I think we just need another year. And we're there, and basically there. And I think in a normal year, absolutely, I think they would have been there. They did pick up some, Stefan Mijatovic. I don't think really he didn't really shine that well in Florida when he was there. I think he's a much better fit in St. Louis.
Right. Yeah.
The players they brought in, SK and Gerger and Patrick Thompson, all. And, I think Max is going to have a good place there. Once they solidify chemistry and things, and he was injured a lot this season too. So I just wanted to give that shout out. So, what's after Coach of the Year is Goalkeeper of the Year. So your nominees for Goalkeeper of the Year.
Hold it.
Were Clayson, Silva, and Paulo. And I think there's some controversy there, and I don't want to necessarily call out any players, but I think the same team who voted the guy who had one win or one game played into the rookie MASL all-rookie team all voted for their own goalkeeper.
Yeah, so this happened 2 years ago as well, where the third team goalie should have been different than what it was.
Well, last year, the guy with the best stats didn't even make a nomination. If we're gonna go there, and this year
there was, Andrew Coughlin should have gotten it, but he didn't.
Yeah,
and that's what happened this year as well.
So we need a consistent voting system.
Yeah. So I think, and I said this a few weeks ago. I do think Clayson DeLima should have gotten first team, and he did. And Goalkeeper of the Year. Hugo Silva had a great season for Florida. He's the reason why they were in a lot of their games.
Yeah.
And you guys ever heard of Nicola Neto?
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't make any sense why he didn't make a team.
Well, let's bring up the duo of Pardo and Vanzela. Now, granted, the regular season was a bust for them in all sense of the word. Vanzela did have the best stats, but he also had a losing record
and played like 4.5 games.
Right. So I think that was an Ian and Max situation from the Wave, and why neither of them won a MVP award is because they took votes away from each other.
They cancel each other out. Yeah.
Yeah.
If Pardo had played the whole season, or if Vanzela had played the whole season, we wouldn't even be having this discussion.
Right. I would have been happy.
One of them would have made a team, probably
Yeah.
the third team, because, or actually, there probably would have been honorable mention, and Paulo would have been third team anyways. But
I would have been good with Silva winning it as well. I think we've been talking about him all year. He's not and this is definitely not an insult at all by any means. He's not a flashy goalkeeper, but if your positioning is so good, you don't have to be. Like,
right.
I mean, if you just know where to be, and your instinct is putting you in the right place, sure, you can dive and make dynamic saves and everything, but he doesn't need to. He also doesn't have a defense that lets him down, so he has to go corner to corner, post to post during the same play. But I would have been fine with him as the.
I would have as well, but I think going into the season, and it kind of goes back to Coach of the Year for me, like who exceeded expectations. Mm-hmm. Like I think we all knew Hugo Silva was going to have a great year, especially with Chad Vandergriff showing up, and just that defense in general.
Yeah.
And the big Achilles heel for Ontario was goalkeeping, and Clayson de Lima, I had a feeling he was going to have a great year, and he didn't disappoint, and he's still doing his thing, and he will do his thing in the finals. So yeah. It came down to those two for me, but I think Clayson de Lima definitely deserves it.
I think Jimmy Norberg gets Coach of the Year just for the Clayson decision. How's that? If he was tied, that bumped him over.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll just say yeah.
So, Brad, we'll get to that in a second because Waltman. Yeah, we'll get. Yeah. Okay, we'll get to that. Next, Defender of the Year. So your three nominees were Cesar Sorda, Robert Palmer, Stefan Mijatovic. Again, there's that one team that keeps getting people to show up on the lists here. Robert Palmer. I think that was the easiest of the choices.
Absolutely. I mean, what a pickup by Ontario, getting Robert Palmer, and it's kind of funny before the season, or before even the semifinals started, he messaged me and he's like, "Oh, you coming out to Kansas City?" Like I got to know him pretty well while cool. I was out there, and it surprised me because. I mean, the last time I saw Robert Palmer was in Utica scoring 4 goals in the fourth quarter to have the Comets come back against Utica City. So I knew he had it in him, and it was good to see him help out the defense there in Ontario.
Here's the problem with him winning Defender of the Year. Uzi and Izzy Cisse, you guys can't call yourselves the best defensive duo in the league anymore.
Right.
It's going to have to be a trio of some sorts.
Yeah.
Huff will have something to say about that, I'm sure.
Do we sidetrack for like 30 seconds? Huff's picture on in the box. Hilarious. All right, let's move on.
It was amazing. It pissed off a whole bunch of people and it was great. I got a whole bunch of messages about it today and I just laughed my ass off.
I couldn't believe it. I just
So the next one, the Major Arena Soccer League has announced the recipient of the inaugural Joseph Carrell Award will be Ontario Freer midfielder Charlie Gonzalez. This award, named after the late Ontario Freer and Tacoma Stars player, is voted on by MSL players, coaches, and front office personnel to be given to a player deemed most passionate and inspirational in the league. Traits definitely part of Joseph. And then some stats on Charlie. So, I mean, like, I don't have an applause thing. I have this.
Have a corn dog, Adam.
It's the closest I got. Or this one.
Corn dogs, Jackie.
Yeah, there's nothing.
That's probably the best one. Absolutely amazing award. Congratulations, Charlie. However, I would have liked a much longer description of what this award is. How Joseph himself was deemed inspirational, and how Charlie was as well, because this is something we need to celebrate in the league. We need more positivity like this.
Yeah, maybe a quote from Jimmy Nordberg or someone. I don't know.
They released these 2 hours apart from each other. There was time there to write something more than that little paragraph, and I think congrats to all players who won awards, and we're getting to the biggest one in a second. I think this needs to be stepped up and talked about much more.
Speaking of Joseph Carrell, so when I was in Kansas City, I had a picture taken with Frank and Uzi Tayu, and there was another person in the picture. And I don't know who that person is. I don't know if that's Joseph Carrell's father. If someone wanted to look at that and kind of confirm or just tell me who that was.
I don't know if I saw it, but I don't know. I haven't seen enough pictures of his family to tell.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know either. They kind of brought him over as well when we took the picture. So I'm like, okay. I just didn't know who it was. But
yeah,
I think going forward, it should be more like a quote from the player or a bunch of quotes from like the coach or the GM or.
LaSharon says send the picture to her and she'll figure it out.
Well, I won't send it right now because it'll mess everything up. It's on in the box.
Then I'll have to talk to the corn dog by myself for a while. I mean, I'm good with that if you want, but it's okay. So, yeah.
Well, we do have to. Are we going to take a timeout tonight?
We might.
Okay. Well, then I'll do it then if we do.
We could, yeah. I mean, yeah, we could. Oh, Dave's back from his mission.
He's what?
He's back from his mission.
What was his mission?
I can't say.
Why?
I can't. You can see it at the timeout. So anyway, Joseph Carrell Award. I love the idea. I actually mentioned earlier in the season, don't call it the Ron Newman Award, call it the Ron Newman Cup, call it like the Chico Borja Cup or Joseph Carrell Cup or something like that. I think this is a really good way to honor him.
Absolutely.
Just like, I mean, I keep saying it because I hope someone from the league sees part of this and realizes that we're calling them out on a absolutely 100% positive note. And thank you for doing this from all the fans. Even those of us who have never met him in person, just watching him play and knowing that he had this inspiration for others, and now knowing that Charlie has the same would be, I just want to know more. That would be the thing. So
well,
anyway,
we can tell you his name is not Brian Aguilar.
Yes. I think we've definitively put that one to bed until the next time we bring his name up. All right, so MVP. Candidates were Ian Bennett, Frank Tayu, and the one and only Charlie Gonzalez.
Yeah.
There were some questions going into this.
So if you think Ian Bennett should have been MVP, can you just click on that button that's down there? It's down there. Well, it eventually is going to be down there. So right there.
Yes.
Yeah, that one.
Ding ding. And
no.
Corn dogs, Jackie. Corn dogs for all these people.
For all these people.
Right, I can picture this.
Yeah, that's what I did it.
So the slight chance of a controversy was in every other year, except for when Nick Pereira won it, I think even when Nick Pereira won it, the highest point total got the MVP. And this year it was Ian, and it wasn't it was a little close, but not quite. And there was some people wondering if this was still going to happen. And it was like, well, it should, because that's the way it's been. And there's everything else up until that point has been exactly how it's been in the past. Why would they change it now? But this is the MASL we're talking about. And they tend to do stuff every once in a while that makes us wonder where they got that idea from. But we are happy to say, show the logo there, Matt, the Mr. IB26 himself. Are you okay?
I'm trying to point to it. I'm trying to point to it without looking.
So congratulations, Ian. There were some comments, oh, he had to leave Milwaukee in order to get it. We've talked about this. With him and Max doing as well as they've done, they kind of cancel each other out. I almost was wondering if, because there's so many big name players on Florida, if he wouldn't have gotten it because of that. But I think it's absolutely 100% deserved. I would like, in another year, I would like them to maybe change up the criteria and just don't blindly go by whoever gets the most points.
That's what I was going to say.
I wanted to preempt you because I knew exactly where you're going with that.
You know where I'm going with this.
In another year, I would love to see that. But I would also like to see them announce preseason what the criteria is going to be. And not do this, hey, by the way, there's 2 weeks left in the season, here's your playoff format. Because granted, COVID year, I know that's going to be the excuse for this year, but I'd love to see that not happen in the future.
Well, I think announcing like playoff format stuff like that needs to be done in the preseason. I think awards are pretty much self-explanatory. Like Coach of the Year, Rookie of the Year, Most Valuable Player is definitely one of the ones where it's
right.
It's in every sport. And you set me up for this one. While I think Ian Bennett had a great year, Ian, you know I love you. You had a great season statistically, but the Most Valuable Player award to me is if you were to take that person away, how would the team fare?
And I think there's two explanations of what a most valuable player could be. It could be the best player in the team, which is highly, highly subjective, or the biggest impact player on their team. And I think that's what it should be. And I think I know why I know exactly where you're going with this because you said it last week. So.
I did. So I think if I had a vote, let's just say I had a vote in this, but I didn't. But let's just say I did. I honestly would have voted Clayson DeLima. I think without him, Ontario would not be where they are. Now, if you take Ian Bennett away, where was Florida last year? Pretty much in the same boat.
Yeah. And for that reason, that's why Ian should have won it 2 or 3 times for Milwaukee. Absolutely.
100%. I completely agree. He was long overdue for this. It's just it's weird it happened this year.
Yeah.
But I think he would have been second in my vote if I did have a vote.
So they have the and this is a perfect segue into my next comment. So we have the first team, we have the second team, we have the third team, and they're done by points, except for the MVP, which seems to be the subjective weird thing that doesn't seem to be voted on. My suggestion for doing this going forward is do the individual awards first, and have each of those individual awards head up one of these teams. So do like your MVP, which is almost always going to be a forward in this case, your defender and your goalkeeper, and have them be the captains, so to speak, of each of these all-star teams or all teams. Because what happens is you announce the all teams first, second, and third, and you know based on those who the nominees are going to be for all the awards. And then you either end up with something that's way too predictable that everyone knows it, or some sort of weird controversy like the guy who's on the third team winning one of the awards.
Right.
Which kind of makes no sense. So I thought of that. I think there's a lot of confusion when these awards come out. There's a lot of butthurt fans. There's a lot. I've been one of them. I mean, there's a lot of things that can happen. I think there's better ways to streamline these to make it more reasonable for everyone, or announce all 5 of the individual awards and just come out with your teams after that. However, maybe that way you can get you could have a goalkeeper as MVP. But then what's with the honorable mentions? So we have 7 teams in the league. We have 3 full teams full of all teams. And then we have another 3 teams worth of honorable mentions. There's 16 players as honorable mentions. And the only 2 goalkeepers who weren't given an honorable mention were Juan Gamboa and William Vanzela, I think. I may be wrong in that. There may be another backup that played that I didn't catch. But in my real quick this, that, the other, I mean, Lou Meisner didn't make it as well, but he only played a couple games.
I'm just gonna chalk this up to this is a once in a lifetime thing that's gonna happen.
Right. So let's go on our snub list.
You already know what I'm gonna say.
Neto?
No, Adam James.
Adam James was an honorable mention.
Percent Adam James.
Brandon Escoto was only an honorable mention.
Brandon Escoto.
Vanzela didn't even show up on the list anywhere.
Yeah, Vanzela should have been on the list somewhere.
Or
for like second team all Phantom knockers or something like that. I don't know.
Right. Oh, I can't do that. I need that too. They're okay, just making a note to myself. So either you got to include these types of names or you got to wipe out the honorable mention list. And it's, there were a lot of comments made about participation awards. There were more honorable mentions this year than last season, and last season had 10 more teams.
Yep.
More than twice as many teams. So that was weird to me. I'm going to step out here and say that there's 2 players that were on lists that shouldn't have been. And I like both of these people and players. I think Max Ferdinand and Paulo should not have been on either teams. They were both on the third team. I don't think they should have been. I think there are other better choices.
You could replace Adam James and Nicola Neto.
Right. Max just didn't play for a lot of games because they were waiting for they were healing him up for the playoffs to make sure he was 100%. And I think, I don't know, he's an amazing player, and I've said this millions of times. There's stuff that he does on the field that nobody even knows, and it doesn't translate into stats. But it just didn't click for me this year for him.
Yeah,
but anyway,
I completely agree with you. I think, I think Nicola Neto, Adam James had a huge year, and I think they should have deserved something. I mean, yeah, honorable mention, but I think third team would have been a good spot for him.
Yeah, I think so. And I'd like to see. I just came up. Somebody mentioned somewhere the first team versus the second team would be a cool matchup. This should tie into the All-Star game somehow.
I think, and I don't know if I've said this before, but yeah, I'm definitely for an All-Star game, and last year was kind of my idea. So maybe they can take this idea and run with it next year. So maybe have fans vote. Okay. Fans vote up until maybe 2 weeks before the season ends.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Top 2 vote getters. One in the East, one in the West. They do a draft.
Maybe so they're like the captains or whatever?
Yeah, so they can be captains and they can pick their teams.
I like the idea of, and I brought this up last year, of having having that you have to pick someone that's not on your team, and then that person gets the next pick, and you keep going down.
Yeah, I mean something like
cool
that.
like
something that. And have it, televise it. Do something. Maybe have like a Facebook Live with.
We have extra frames.
Yeah, exactly. We don't need random corn dog here. We can have one captain here and then one captain down there. And subscribe.
Yeah, there's a number of things that could be done. I think there's a lot
of potential to hype up the All-Star game. And I think, having it this season was great.
Yeah.
And I expect there'll be more added onto it next year.
Yeah. I think having it this year was more of a, we don't even know if we're going to be a season let's do something soccer related. We have this place we can play.
They did it to shut us up, I think. So
to shut you up mostly. Yeah,
shut me up. But I'm still talking. So
like I asked this question to everybody and they're like, oh crap. Should there be an all-star game? And it's
yeah, ask it to everybody.
All right, so do we want to take a quick break before we go on our next segment here?
What is our next segment? Oh, we're giving awards.
We're giving awards. The first annual In the Box Awards.
Wow.
Should we take a quick break?
Yeah, sure. I'm not really going anywhere, but
I need to. There's some water issues.
Okay, yeah. Do that, and I'll send the picture. And
here, Eric. Time out. We'll be right back. We are back. As I said, I'm the Kansas City Comets of timeouts.
Yes.
Where you have to ring that.
If I had the ability to do it, I still wouldn't come close to.
They're ringing the bell, they're blowing the whistle, hitting the scoreboard buzzer, and they're all still huddled in. They're like not even paying attention. And
Come on, guys, hurry it up.
All right. So the first annual In the Box Awards. I wrote down a list of a lot of them.
Oh, and, good, because I kind of have no idea what's going on, and it's funny. We have a chat, the three of us, and I'm like, "Are we doing awards? What are we doing?" And Adam's like, "Yeah, we're doing awards," and I'm like, "Okay, I really don't know what awards to give, but okay."
Well, I will say no one's getting a corn dog trophy.
Yeah, because I think we all know what happened to the first one, and
my West Coast friends, next time you see Nick Pereira, which may be a while, 6 months or so, ask him about the corn dog trophy and where it is. Just see what he says.
I could probably message him. I'll message him. I'll see if we can find its whereabouts. You should have put like one of those microchips and just like snuck it in.
We should have injected it with a vaccine and had Bill Gates track him for us.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm trying to hack my tracking chip to find out where the hell I am. There's no side effects.
Well side effects.
All right. So
you have a list of awards you can give. So I'll give my opinion to your awards. I'll throw my 2 cents in.
See if you can guess some of these too. First award.
I already know some of them. So
you already know some of them. First award. Most likely to get picked up in the hotel lobby by a school teacher. Mr. Ian Bennett. Even more prestigious than an MVP award. We give this award to.
That day, I remember it very, very well. I wasn't really feeling all that well, and then I wanted to hop in or just watch the show, and then that happened, and
you jumped on and was like, "What the hell did I just see?
What is going on?" So, luckily, that did not happen a couple weeks ago in Kansas City. He did not get picked up by any school teachers that I know
of. Matt LaSharon says that is the owner of the Fury, Jeff Burham.
Okay, cool.
That's
all
cool. Right. Here's a plug for if you go to our YouTube channel, which
how do you get there? How do you?
Well, I mean, there's a couple ways, but if you click the subscribe button, it should be red right there. Or if it's gray, that's good. That means you've
gray is very good.
Gio is Gio's busy. He's going to school for super chief corn dog or something like that.
Yeah.
And master's degree in corn dogology.
Yeah.
Corn dogologist. He's going to be a corn dogologist, but his degree is in corn dogology.
Right.
Okay. Got it. Not to be confused with something else. Anyway, he tries to put out at least one a week. I've trying to get him to do more of these videos called Corn Dog Moments, which are highlights and clips, but they're short. They're like 3 minutes, and they're some of the most ridiculous stuff that we do. Like if that could make it. But in one of the Corn Dog Moments is the Ian Bennett school teacher interaction.
Yeah, and there's a special section for Corn Dog Moments. So if you go to our page, and then I think it's like a playlist.
I think it's YouTube page, YouTube channel playlist.
By the way, I'm very surprised. I thought we were going to have my John Madden impression in one of the Corn Dog Moments.
We need. Let me write a note for myself to bug, because that was one of the better ones we've had.
That was a good one. If I do say so myself, I mean, I'm not tooting my own horn here, but. Terrible.
All right. I don't think Dennis is here. He'll have to watch us later. Most likely to mistake Deadpool for Spider-Man award. That goes to Richard Schmerman of the St. Louis Ambush. Because Dennis spent like an insanely ridiculous amount of time to do up his corn dog this year. He did well, obviously that he did
Gene. Did he do Gene Simmons?
Did Gene Simmons, which was brilliant. He did Deadpool, and then he did Bushwhacker from the Ambush mascot, which might have been the best one of all because it had the hat and it looked pretty good. But Schmerman went up and did the Spider-Man, thing that I can't even do next to the Deadpool, and Dennis is all pissed off. He's like, "That's not Spider-Man."
But I mean, he took it in the locker room after they won, and it was a part of like the whole ambush thing. So I mean, he played along. So
yeah. It was just amazing. But just to watch Dennis's reaction, like, "Damn it, that wasn't Spider-Man." All right. I don't know if I should say this one out loud. Most likely to punch someone in a non-sanctioned MASL event.
That has yet to be suspended. Moving on. The biggest breakthrough all season
in name pronunciation.
Okay.
It's a player name. It's a player, not a commentator.
See, breakthrough, like getting it right, or
yes.
Well, that eliminates Sam Guy Ernsey. I don't know. Mijatovic. Oh, darn.
Marcio Leite. Halftime interview with Nick Vassos where he said, "Clarify something for me. How do you pronounce your last name?" And we got it definitively by Marcio. It is not Leite, Leite, Letty, any of the ridiculous other pronunciations we've heard over the years. It is Leite. And
you made that perfectly clear last week. Or speaking of, that is in our last corn dog moments.
It is. And actually thought I recorded that somewhere.
I don't know, but you laid right into your microphone and said the correct pronunciation of it.
No, baby, I didn't.
Okay, well.
I thought I captured that one as well. Anyway, the best Ricardinho goes to Ricardinho.
But which one?
I mean, I just read what they tell me to.
Well, because there are two Ricardinhos. There's one in Florida and one in Dallas.
Yes. There used to be.
Oh, they're co-winners. Okay. No,
yeah.
That's fine.
Best Ricardinho is Ricardinho.
Okay. Well, congratulations to Ricardinho.
Best broadcast team goes to Nick and Eric and the Kansas City Comets. Second best goes to Philly and Jonathan and the Ontario Fury. And we didn't have enough data for a third best this season.
Wait, let's ask our good friend Nick Vassos. Nick, who do you think the third best commentators are? Okay, well.
I agree. I definitely agree.
I mean, stump the Vassos.
Yeah, stump the Vassos. That'd be great.
That should be a new segment. That we should have a graphic.
I like it. The award for lucky to even have a picture goes to us MASL fans.
Can I accept the award, or can I? I'd like to take the opportunity to thank the Florida Tropics for giving us a picture. I mean, we really appreciate it. It was, I won't say great to watch your feed this year, but thank you to Florida for giving us a picture.
I felt lucky to have it. I felt very lucky.
As you know, as did I.
Yeah. So a couple other a couple smaller ones. Best venue in the league, not you, Florida. Best attendance in the league, not you, Florida. Best turf in the league, not you, Florida.
I mean, it was close. Those
close.
three were really close.
Yes.
But yeah.
The Lewis Melcher Award for the most negativity in a season is a tie. And we'll leave it at that.
Well, we'll leave it at that. You guys know. If you don't, well, maybe you should join MASL in the Box on Facebook or on YouTube. I'm getting better. I'm getting better at this.
Isn't it confusing because it's not mirrored?
That's why I'm going like this to Ian Bennett. I'm like, where am I going?
I've been doing this for over a year now, and I still don't get it right. It's just so confusing.
So you look down here, and then I point to that. I think I've got this now. I feel like Lucy right now.
Right. The other day, I went to go put a contact in, and I just pitched it right over my shoulder.
Yeah.
All right, a couple more here. The best Stella Award goes to our friend Everton.
Yes.
The best Derek Huffman Award goes to Derek Huffman.
I just came up with this off the top of my head. I think we should give an excellence in the box, like a lifetime achievement award, if you will.
Oh yeah.
And name it the Golden Corn Dog.
Yes.
I think the first recipient of the Golden Corn Dog should be Derek Huffman.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because he's been on the show like 4 or 5 times, and I think we've had our longest show with Derek Huffman on.
So congrats, Derek. I'm just not going to pay $100 again to get a trophy made up for you. So you'll just have to.
No. So what I'll do is I'll have Hannah just draw a picture and.
Oh, perfect.
There you go.
We could have Hannah draw one and Gio do one and see which one's better. Have people vote on it.
Yeah.
That won't make Gio feel too good.
And now we're expecting an acceptance speech from you, Derek Huffman.
Yes.
So feel free to post it out in the box if you'd like. Not from your hotel bed with the check.
Yes. And preferably more clothes on.
Right, absolutely, yeah. So yes.
So a couple weeks ago I did a corn dog roll call and asked people to post their corn dog pictures that they have, like mine up here, this guy. And I came up with 3 awards for that. Most creative goes to Dennis for,
of course,
all the absurd amount of time he putting that together.
My God, I mean the many faces of Gerg is
yeah,
hilarious.
Best corn dog battle has to go to Philly and Jonathan.
100%.
And the overall best corn dog picture is Kenzie.
Yes, that. Now, I did not vote on that for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
I do think that's a well-deserved award.
So, congratulations to all the award winners.
So I've come up with one myself. It is the best prognosticator of the year award. And that goes to the person I feel that did the best with picks. It was close between the picker wheel.
I was going to say.
And this year's recipient, Hannah.
Hannah, right. Yeah. I mean, I would have had it too if it weren't for Hannah. The picker wheel would have swept.
Yeah, the picker wheel. I mean, it goes back to one of our corn dog moments. So if you haven't watched any of the corn dog moments, this is now a good time.
Yeah.
There is a part of the corn dog moments where the picker wheel chose who would win the Ron Newman Cup this season.
Yep. I had all 7 teams listed in there, and Matt's like, oh, but you should put corn dog in there. So I put corn dog in there, spun the wheel, and the wheel picked corn dog. I would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for
slippery balls.
Yeah. So does the chat have any superlative awards they want us to do.
Yeah, do you guys in the chat have any awards?
Like I could come up with like I don't know, like this season, like I've gotten to know I knew a lot of players beforehand, but there are a couple that I got to know over the last couple of weeks. Well, actually 3. Nick McDonald from the Kansas City Comets, Robert Palmer from Ontario, and Chad Vandergriff. I had never met Chad Vandergriff.
Oh, really?
Until a few weeks ago. Yeah.
We would try to see Chad as often as we could, but most of the time he had like 1,000 screaming girls in his line after the game. And it's like,
yeah,
okay.
it was funny. So in one of my live things, Ricardo came over and like gave me a fist bump, and Chad's like, "Do you need me to translate, Matt? I know a little Portuguese." And I'm like, "You do?"
They teach Portuguese in the middle of
Yeah,
Missouri?
warm up. Yeah.
So I last week kind of mentioned it and probably didn't remind you about it, so I don't know if you even know what I'm about to say. Let's talk about all the positives that came out of this COVID season.
Absolutely.
So there's a group that can go over all the negatives, and we've gone through some of them this year.
But we have solutions to them.
Yeah. So I wrote down, not necessarily in any order, but one of my, you guys know the thing that I pick on the most is the broadcasts. And it's because I think it's the single biggest, like single point of view of what the sport is in the broadcast. Because you can say, what's your sport like? You know, I'm in kind of backtrack. I'm in a band, and I've done a lot of recordings from the play your part next to the boombox, playing the other part really loud, and try to record that and have it not sound like complete garbage. We do not. Brad wants to know who the first team ref duo was, and no.
Do you want to ask Nick Vassos?
Brian Martin or Miller? Brian Martin and Brian Miller are the duo. I don't know.
That's a tough call.
I mean, I said earlier I think Ryan Sigas should be removed as head of referees, so that tells you what I think of that. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
I like all the refs that I've met in person, and talked to.
Yeah, it's a tough call.
Yeah.
I think.
So let's get back to the positives.
Yeah. Let's.
So, like, back when I was in a band, my goal in recording music was to give you, at the time it was a CD, or now it's, online files, and just say, here's my music, and walk away. Not, hey, now before you listen to this, keep in mind we only had a $200 budget, and my guitarist amp was broken, and the drummer dropped one of his sticks, and all these like I just want to be able to say, here you go. And I know I've done the best of my ability, and I know what I think it sounds like. If you agree, great. If you don't, fine. But I know I can present this product without having to give a whole bunch of excuses on what happens to it. That's what I feel the broadcasts need to get to. And I think there's still some arenas that don't have it and teams that don't have it together. But this year with the pay-per-view, the teams were forced to up their game. And even in the place that had the worst broadcast, they did get better after their first couple, and they stepped it up and got better. Kansas City was already starting at like a 9 out of 10 and pushed it to an 11. St. Louis had a lot of problems that have been plaguing them for years. They pushed it way up. Ontario worked really hard to get things, back up. So I think that was a big plus for this year. And I also think moving to a pay-per-view platform is a plus for the game overall. I think people who say no one needs to go back to YouTube because whatever reason, they weren't going to pay for it anyway, whether it's on a paid platform on YouTube or a paid platform on Facebook. So I think the platform, as much as I complain about Facebook's shitty interface. I think it doesn't matter as much as the fact that it's gone to this kind of pay system. I don't think it benefits anyone if you have extra fans that watch a game that never pay for it and never help. I think it helps the league when you have fans that actually pay for it, whether it's their home games or their team's away games or all the games or whatever. I don't think it really helps much to say, oh yeah, we have 700,000 views over this season, but nobody paid a single cent for it. But if you say we had 400,000 views and everyone paid a minimum of this much for it, I think that helps with that package. And saying,
and it helped the teams because they split the revenue.
Yep.
It helped pay the players, helped travel costs. It helped with some of the burden that these owners had this season.
Yeah, I mean, we said going in, the owners all expected to lose money, especially the ones that didn't have any home games. And this was to try to
even Florida.
Yeah. Right. and I mean this helped teams to offset losses.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'd like to see going forward. I'd like to see a pay-per-view platform for a number of reasons. I think we can hold the league accountable and hold the teams accountable to put together a quality product, and they won't have COVID as an excuse anymore. They won't have, well, our equipment is just so old we can't really do it. No, that's not an excuse anymore. Hold them to a standard. Make them, adhere to it, and charge for the games. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, I think pay-per-view is the way to go. I mean, me being not really a spoiled brat when it comes to soccer, but I think I would rather see it on YouTube because it's easily accessible, more accessible for me, as opposed to Facebook.
Yeah. I know that Facebook is trying to compete with what YouTube has, and I know Facebook knows that they're years behind YouTube, but they're dumping a ton of money into it to try to make it a viable platform. Adam Grosskreutz, yes, absolutely. I would still throw in featured games. In a regular season, I would make it at least one a week, where the featured games being the free games. Yep. Same platform, same situation. It could go to a different platform. It could even go to something that's not YouTube or Facebook. There are other streaming platforms out there that are popular and that would be able to work in this situation. But I think
I wouldn't try the Twitch thing again.
No, but I mean, there's other platforms that show up on like Fubo TV or Sling or something that are separate.
But I'm saying like. If you're talking streaming platforms, I know there's Twitch, and I don't think that would work.
I think it says a lot to the decision making in the league that they dropped the 11 sports thing when they did. After the one season, they're like, oh, this wasn't as great as we thought. It brought in more problems, preempted. Now, for those saying we want an ESPN deal, be careful what you ask for. Because ESPN typically won't have all the games. And if they do, it may not even be live. It may not be at the slot. It may be, like we watched that Crunch game. It was very, very heavily edited. We come back and there's 7 goals that were, not 7, but 4. I think we left when it was like 5-4. We came back, it was like 12-7. And it was multi-point scoring. But like, wait, how many goals did we just miss? Trying to figure out where everyone was and, things like that. And
yeah, and ESPN, I'm sure, wouldn't have live games, and they'd probably be on at like 3 a.m, like right after like Japanese sumo wrestling or something like that.
Yeah, Dave just said you get a game at 3 a.m. on a Wednesday. And
Dave, which oddly was it Dave that would watch Korean? I think it was Dave.
Korean baseball.
Korean baseball at like 3 a.m.
That was Dave. That I believe that was Dave. Okay. Dave also said don't put the same team in the featured game every week. So the issue that they had, and I think they resolved this towards the end, KBO, he says, Korean baseball.
Yep.
The issue that they had was Facebook's platform did not allow for 2 paid games at the same time. So when there were two games playing at the same time, they made one of them featured. I think they should schedule in. I mean, you go into the season scheduling arena availability, obviously, but you go in and figure out what your feature game of the week is going to be. Sometimes it's going to be the top two teams. Sometimes it's going to be the bottom two teams. It's going to be a variety. We don't want to see.
Baltimore.
What's that?
Except Baltimore.
Yeah, we don't want to watch Baltimore. Yeah, we don't want to watch Dallas 10 times. We don't want to watch anyone 10 times. How about that? We don't want to watch any team 10 times for the future game. Because there will be some people who only watch the free games. And that's just the way it is. But you don't lose any money from them. Like if they watch 40 free games or they watch 10, it's the same. You get the same out of them.
And it's an extra set of eyes to where if they see the game, they'll be like, oh, well, that was a really good game. I wonder, and they might purchase a single game. They might purchase the whole season in the future, or they might not.
And we've seen other teams. I know AHL. Somebody just showed me another. Maybe it was basketball. There's another league that was doing.
It was Nick Episcopo.
Yes. Well, that was hockey still then.
It was
okay.
the Syracuse Stallions, which is an ABA team based out of Syracuse.
Yeah, so the teams are doing things like you can buy all of your home games, you can buy all of your team's away games, you can buy like a half season pass, a full season pass, or I think so what worked really well for actual tickets, the Wave, they did this like 3-pack deal. It's just 3 tickets. And they sold them like crazy. I mean, it discounted them obviously, but they sold them. That was their biggest seller, like exponential revenue seller. I think do a 3-pack or 5-pack or 10-pack of games, just all sorts of deals, whatever you can come up with, to get these things out there. You know, guys like us are just going to do the season pass just so we don't have to deal with it. But I think someone who doesn't really care about teams other than their own would be willing to shell out some money to watch all of their team's away games.
Yeah.
Just depends on how, what the platform allows and things like that. So I think that was a big plus for me for this year. And I don't think it could have happened if it weren't for COVID. If it weren't for everything getting shut down, I don't think they could have moved to a pay platform.
They wouldn't.
In a full season with all the teams.
I think it would have stayed with YouTube if it wasn't a COVID season. I think it would have stayed with YouTube, but
yeah. So the next things were kind of 2 and 2. The mini tournaments. We talked about this, I think, last week. Also talked about with Eric a little bit of. I like the idea of having a couple teams show up in one location and play each other. And then go hand in hand in that is we saw teams playing. We saw teams playing each other that we wouldn't have normally seen in a regular season because of the fact that some teams weren't able to play at their arena and these mini tournaments and things. I'm gonna go further and say I really, really like the idea of not having East versus West in the playoffs. I like the possibility of having 2 East teams play for the championship, or in this case, 2 West teams. Especially since there's so much movement, and I've always said we haven't had the same conference makeup in the entire time I've been watching this sport.
Yeah, everything's changed.
South Central, Southeast Central, South East East,
South
East South. You're right. Then we got 4. Yeah, we got 4 conferences now. We have 2. Now we just have 7 teams. Now we have 1. I don't know how you would do it. I get that you still have to play locally for travel costs and things, but I can't believe that a flight from Tacoma to California is that much cheaper than a flight from Tacoma to Missouri or Wisconsin or New York.
Yeah, I think the mini tournaments it could have been what's the word I'm looking for? Hyped up differently.
Yeah.
But it was a great idea. I mean, we got to see, like you said, I mean, Florida versus San Diego. You got to see Ontario versus Florida, which was a great thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think there needs to be more. Maybe have like, I don't know, like Ontario, pick a few teams and have them come up to Utica, or
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Basically what the Central Cup was in kind of like the M2 did in the middle of the season. Pick a central location, have teams go there, and then the team that hosts, they're involved in something on the road as well later on.
Yeah, or even do like a preseason.
Yeah,
Have it be sanctioned. Anyways.
right. But yeah, I like. I've been kind of toying around in my head the idea of what to do with the playoffs for like a 17-team league. Pick how many ever get in and reseed everybody.
I think that's a great idea. I think reseeding would be, if you want to see two teams from the East or two teams from the West, I think that would be a great idea. So you mentioned a few positives. I want to throw one in really quick. The emergence of Philly and Panda.
Yeah, definitely.
Like last year, we had no idea who they were, what they were about, and all of a sudden they're here. They're doing their podcast. They're doing color commentary, on-field interviews, and they've been super awesome to talk to.
Yeah.
And glad to have them on board, and Philly doing his interviews with the MASL and stuff like that. I think that's great.
Having those be with the MSL are really cool.
Yeah, I mean that's something that I'm sure we would love to do. I know I would love to do it. Have something to do with the MASL.
We'd have to be nicer. So Sharon said the Fury fans had no idea who they were either.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just nice to see more people getting involved in the sport.
Yep. I'd like to see more of a I'd like to see more of us working together. So we worked with the marketing director, marketing person from the league early on in a lot of these broadcasts. He would be like, "Hey, how's it look? How's it sound? Well, this is a little off. That's a little off. That's a little off." And he worked with the teams to get it better. And I thought that was really cool to. I didn't want credit for anything, but I think more fan engagement is much better than less.
Yeah, and it would be nice to see more podcasts out there of different teams. Like maybe one out of St. Louis or one out of Tacoma. And I know the Keeper's Corners podcast is still going strong in Utica. But yeah, I mean, hype up your team.
Yeah.
And if you want special guests to come on and talk about the sport, yeah, I mean, I know I'll go on, and I know we've done it before.
Yeah. We could drop the sound effects and the most of the swearing if we need to do that.
No, I don't know if I can get rid of the fart gun. I think that's
no, that stays. That stays. Corn dogs stay. That's
that's another
stays.
positive. Why don't we? That's another positive.
Subscribe button stays. So, well, I think the corn dogs were here before the corn dogs were in full bloom before the season.
I don't know if it was before, but I think it's kind of picked up steam over the last. I mean, you've seen it pretty much at every arena.
Yeah.
And people come up to you and they're like, "Hey, I brought the corn dog today," and it's like,
yep. Right. It's been a cool thing. I always say, or I always used to say, it's not the corn dog. Anything would have come up would have been a symbol, and it was. I don't believe that anymore. I don't believe like a potato would have done the same, or a slice of pizza than the corn dog has.
Now I'm hungry.
I know.
Actually, no. I had a Big Mac before I came on, so I'm good.
So Brad says, do you guys still like the top seeds picking their opponents in playoffs, or just go strictly with seeding? Well, why don't you take that one, Matt?
Well, I was gonna see what you were gonna say, but I think that kind of bit someone in the rear end this year.
Yeah.
I think if, and I'm gonna go back to Kansas City on this one, but I think if they hyped it up like Kansas City did and kind of went into why they picked the ambush or how it happened, yeah, I think it was a good idea. Do I want to see it in the future?
Is it too gimmicky for this sport? In a sport full of gimmicks.
Oh, MPS is too gimmicky. Anyways,
Yeah.
well, it's not. But
That was what
it's tough. I mean, pros and cons. If you were to ask me yes or no, I would say no.
If it were a true 100%, we're picking a team based on the strategy of how we match up against that team, I would say yes. But it's not, because it has things like arena availability and travel costs thrown into it. So I understand why they do it, because, oh, well, Kansas City, now we have to play our second game on the road strictly because of arena availability. And, oh, if we play this weekend, we can't do this and do that and do that. The same with Ontario because of arena availability. Then it kind of takes out the allure of it. It's chosen based on more of a, I don't even want to say financial strategy, but more of a business strategy than an actual play. I'd like to see it more of an actual like chess match type strategy where, okay, we think we can beat this team first and then come back home and beat them again. Or this team, the games are going to be tighter and closer together. It'll tire us out more. So we want to take this team to make it, so we have a better chance that, or we just don't match up against this team over here, even though they're worse than this team here. So we're going to pick that kind of thing I would like to see. However, I've been kind of thinking this through, say 17 teams in the league, let's say 8 make the playoffs. I don't know if I like the idea of first round buys in this sport because
Nope.
I think it kills momentum. There were Florida fans complaining they didn't get to play the first weekend, and it's
Florida didn't play like the last 3 weeks of the season, so
right. And I think because of scheduling and because of arena availability, I think every team playing in that first round is kind of crucial for momentum. But let's say the top 8 play or make the playoffs. I think you can't go by your traditional win-loss goal differential thing. I think you go by strength of schedule after the season's over to reseed. Which is weird.
Then you're kind of getting into there would be a lot of debating, I think, with that. Because it's kind of like college football. So look at college football. Yeah. You've got the 8 teams that make the national championship, whatever, and then I think base it off of. Well, I think the only way you could do win-loss, like strictly win-loss, is you play each team once.
Right, and we know that's never going to happen.
It's never going to happen, right? So,
but what if you do? So most of the strengths of schedule stuff comes from either previous seasons or some made-up voodoo. What if you wait until the season's over? Then you have every team's record and who they played against, and you can figure out their strength of their schedule that year based on their record. You can come up with a solid number, and then just rank them in order and pair them. So if you get a team that plays a Rochester, let's say we have a 10-game season and they play Rochester 10 times and Rochester doesn't win any, and then you have a team that goes, say, 7-3 against the team, but their 7 wins are against the team that won all, or whatever. You can kind of figure that out. The other way is just do, So Dave kind of had where I was going, or just do a strict random draw.
I was just about to say, why don't we take a page out of like the Champions League
straight draw, and then for a, because you want to make the regular season worth something, the higher seed gets the home field advantage.
Put the top 4 teams in one pot.
That's what Dave just said.
5 through 8 in the next pot. Boom.
And then the top 4 teams are going to get, or I was even thinking all 8 teams in there. So you could get a 1 versus 8, or you could get a 1 versus 2 in the first round. But with the potential that the 1 versus 2 haven't played each other ever.
Then what's the advantage of? No, I think for a 1 seed, if you either play the 2 seed, I think it's more advantageous to play the 8 seed as opposed to the 2 seed.
Yeah, that's true.
So I think top 4, maybe 5 through 8.
And I'm brainstorming here, and my brain doesn't always function. So there's my excuse.
There you go.
Yeah, that's what. And then like Dave said, live draw. So do some kind of live show. Hype it up.
I think that would be, and it's like we said with the All-Star game, like have more fan engagement. Like the league is doing a lot when it comes to engaging with the fans, and we're not saying it's not enough. I mean, it's a lot, and we appreciate it, but there's a few other things that we could think of that would kind of get more eyeballs on the sport. And I think a live draw or a live draft with the All-Star game.
Mm-hmm. I like that. Yeah, something. I think there's. I think because the league has started to engage, we're just going to keep asking for more and more and more.
Yeah, I kind of wish I was at the owners' meetings while I was out there, just to be able to just pitch ideas to the owners and be like, hey, wouldn't it be cool if ...
Yeah.
So I'm gonna just kind of throw this out there really quick. So I did have a conversation with one of the executives of the MASL. There should be some announcements on the league coming up next month. And I think Commissioner maybe mentioned they're still kind of sorting through candidates. So be on the lookout for that. So
a comment was made by a person who didn't watch any games this season that basically said the MASL is hanging on by a thread. Everything is relying on the pick and the choice of the commissioner. Do you agree with that statement or no?
100% no.
Okay, good.
I don't. No. I think that person needs to reevaluate their love of the sport, or maybe there's a new league. Maybe they can go cover that league.
So basically, your answer is. I like this one a lot.
Price is right horn.
Survey says.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's going to matter. Yeah, it would be great if it was someone like a Keith Tozer, but it wouldn't if it was some guy that. I think the main thing is the commissioner has a love of the sport. And I think if the commissioner does, it'll be fine.
Does the commissioner have to have a love of indoor soccer or have to have a business sense of running sports?
It'd be nice to have a little bit of both, but I think we have a lot of owners out there that kind of know the ins and outs of it. I think a person with the love of indoor soccer would be better.
Yeah. I've heard some things and rumors, and then kind of thought about this on my own, and it's like, well, do you want you got your company, you got 2 guys who start a company in their basement, and 5 years later they're making $100 million a year, and they realize they have no idea how to run a business. They have offices all over the place. I actually worked for a company like this, one of my first jobs, and they hire a CEO who is a complete business minded person who has no idea what their company is. But because he knows business and he knows you're selling a thing, he can come in and run that business and make it successful. I think sports are a little like that, and I don't want to go too far off the, well, we're such a niche sport that blah blah blah, you can't do this and you can't do that. But on the other hand, it would be nice to see some new blood in the sport. I think a lot of the names being thrown around were people who were maybe around in the so-called heyday of the sport that maybe won't have the best ideas in the current day.
Yeah, and I'm throwing this out there kind of as an idea. Maybe, just maybe, the commissioner has some sort of, I don't know, I'm going to say liaison between the league and the fans. Have someone like a fan, like,
Oh, like you.
well, I'm throwing this out there, but to kind of go to this person and say, hey, what do the fans want to see?
Yep.
And then give the information to the commissioner. Commissioner gives the information to the liaison. Liaison passes it on to the fans, or something like that.
I would like to see an official fan survey. Companies do this all the time, and granted, a lot of companies will do things like, choose your dissatisfied, or rank it from 1 to 10 and blah, blah, blah. And then they ignore all the negative stuff and they go, well, according to you guys, 78% of you are in favor of the new gotta wear pants to work day. So we think we're doing a great job. I don't want to see something like that, but I'd like to see some interesting questions being asked. Like, if every game was pay-per-view, would you watch? If your team, just weird things like, if your team were to leave your city, would you still be a fan of the sport? Just to get kind of a pulse on what the fan base is like. Or, do you live in the same city as your home your home team? Because I know there's a lot of teams.
It's going to be completely, and that's, and I mentioned this as commissioner, my week that I was the commissioner. Like, if you did a survey, it's going to be different for every city.
Yep.
So what you would do is you would go to each city and have a plan tailored based on that city. So the plan for Turlock is going to be a lot different than the plan for Utica, and the plan for St. Louis is going to be different than the plan in Florida.
Yep.
It's not going to be uniform throughout. So I think that's something that's a great idea. I just wish and hope that the commissioner would take that information and kind of.
Yeah. Well, I would hope that the commissioner would say, okay, let's get a pulse on the fans in this league. I need to reach out to Greg Suddy, Sidney Newsonoff, Adam, Matt, and Gio, Philly and Panda,
Nick and Eric.
Nick and Eric, but like Nick Episcopo, who was doing his articles, Keeper's Corner guys, find like a top 20 list of, I don't want to say media, but kind of media groups, and then some super fans and things like that. And just say, let me spend a half an hour with you guys on a call and ask what your thoughts are. And just kind of get a gauge. And not like, oh yeah, you got to have, if you have a guy who has one game played in the season, he can't make the rookie of the team because that means the league is a joke. Nothing like that deep. It has to be a higher level of, these are the things we think work, these are the things we don't think work. And let's not dwell on why we don't think things work, because you can ask us those questions later. But in a half an hour, not really an elevator pitch, but the elevator gets, loses power for a little bit pitch. Right. This is what we think works. This is what we like. This is what we've heard from other people. I mean, we talk to people all the time about this sport, day in and day out, even when we're not even playing the sport, like in the middle of summer and things. And what we've heard from players and fans, and crazy ideas and things. And would we like to see 15,000 people in the seats and every player getting paid $1 million? Sure, but what's the realistic view of it, of what we think? And that doesn't mean they have to take our advice or anything. It just gives them an idea where we are. And then when they,
whatever ideas we give them, they can go off and make their own ideas, maybe have some of the principles that we set forth, and maybe they can do something else. It's just.
Well, then when you get the people serious, because you get the people on the call like, what are the things that have to be fixed in the league, and the first words out of their mouth is all the fields need to be the same size. Why? Are you losing fans because of your field size? And if the answer is yes, then were those people really fans?
Yeah.
I mean, I remember maybe 3 or 4 that said, of the ones that were like, Sonora has to be out of this league because of the size of their field, and the next year they had the same size field, and maybe 3 of them stopped going to games because of it. Okay. Yeah, so there's some ideas.
Yeah.
I think I got, the only other thing I had for positives, and I don't know if it's a positive or not, is the glass up at the games. Because you definitely noticed a difference in I'm talking game sorry.
Game flow, absolutely. I completely agree with you. I think it took the time down quite a bit.
I didn't really notice it until we were in the All-Star game. And all of a sudden, the quarter's over, and I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
I blinked twice, and the quarter's over. And I didn't realize it was the glass until I kind of, that makes sense.
Yeah, they haven't gone to a media timeout until wait, there's 2 minutes left and they're doing a media timeout? What?
I think it was really, really evident when they got down to games in Florida when they didn't have the glass for reasons. Oh, we haven't had glass in here so long, we don't even know where to find it. Buy it. Sake.
It's on a requisition somewhere along with the turf.
Right. Yeah. Oh, it's on we don't even know where the glass is. Well, then buy some.
We just lost an auction on the turf that was used in Mississauga.
We bid $36. That's as high as we could go, and then Lewis got it for $37. But yeah, so I think
try getting a hold of him so we could get it, but he hasn't returned our emails.
I think if there's, well, I mean, that's the thing, Dave. We've been talking all season about. Dave, by the way, said he would be banned from the third call with the commissioner. He would be banned from the call by the third call. But he said Florida had money for everything else, and that's kind of what our complaint about Florida was. Had nothing to do with the players, nothing to do with how they treated the players. We mentioned things like they paid the players too much because of the fact they let everything else go. There was an old commercial for the company I used to work for, a local healthcare company, where the guy gets out of his like perfect car and he goes up and his house is just immaculate. And he goes and he looks down and there's one blade of grass a little bit longer. So he gets down with his magnifying glass and his scissors and he cuts the one piece of glass. And then he goes inside and the house is just a complete disaster. Things falling, rain dripping from the, water dripping from the ceiling, holes in the walls and stuff like that. And that's kind of what it's like. It's like if only your product is the one being shown. So it's almost like the outside of the house looks like complete shit. And then you walk inside and there's all these lavish,
Although, I mean, if you want to throw this as a positive, they did respray the football field onto that turf. So,
So anyway, it'll be interesting to see the glass up, glass down, what happens. I have a feeling for the next season we'll be seeing glass up and it'll still be COVID related. I also kind of have a bad feeling that we won't be seeing on-field autograph sessions after the games. Just a hunch for me, but it is almost 8 months away, so we've seen what can happen in just a couple months here, so we'll see.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, so in Utica, it's a little different than in Milwaukee. So they have like one autograph session on the field a season. The restaurant is literally attached to the arena.
Oh, sure.
So all the players go over there after the game. And the glass is also down, so the players go around and sign anyway. So there's numerous chances to get autographs here in Utica. I like for the gameplay, I like glass up. I think they should do some sort of rule, like any any whistle around 7 minutes, do a media timeout.
I was thinking of that too.
Like, I think have that be a norm as opposed to like, oh, well, a media timeout with 2 minutes left. That doesn't really make any sense.
Yeah.
Have it be a consistent. If you were to ask me right now, I think in the case of Utica, I think the glass will be down.
Okay. I think it would be interesting to see. I don't think we saw enough of glass up changing the play like I think it could. I think it'd be really interesting to see like 3 years of glass up what the game looks like again.
Right.
One thing, so I'm obviously a giant Josh Lemos fan. I loved watching Josh's footwork. I loved watching Josh on the ball. He was dynamic. He was exciting. He looked like he broke his ankle 10 times a game based on moves he made. Like things that I would break my ankle trying to replicate. But when I watch these other keepers that I don't have like a personal connection to, it's like, okay, great. We're dumping it back to the keeper. Oh, yep. Oh, we're dumping it back to the keeper again. Oh, the keeper has it. And it's kind of like Everton said, do you go to the games to watch Ian Bennett score goals, or do you go to the games to watch your goalkeeper touch the ball more in the first 10 minutes than your Ian Bennett will in the entire game?
Right.
And I think that's a legitimate concern. I don't want to take anything away from the goalkeeper's footwork and the goalkeeper being involved in the game. Dave, have a good night. Thanks for stopping by. But I think there needs to be something done there. I just don't think it needs to be as drastic of a rule as the futsal rule. Or maybe it does. I don't know. I think what they've done with the can't go past half field made it worse. Because now nobody pressures the goalkeeper because they know as soon as he gets the ball he can't go past midfield. So they all drop back.
Could they, do you think lowering the amount of time a goalie can hang onto the ball would help?
I think just let him go wherever he wants, but have the 4 second. So right now, the goalkeeper has 4 seconds until they get rid of the ball.
5?
It's 4 right now. They moved it from 5 to 4. So I think moving it from 5 to 4 did help. They either need to get rid of the ball or get past half field with it, and then the timer stops. I think if you just, and this was a Mark Litton suggestion from a million years ago or last summer, whichever, COVID years, I think having the 4 second rule all over the field, no matter where you are, kind of solves that. The issue you have is with the sixth attacker. Because you could, the sixth attacker, actually the sixth attacker does have the same limitation right now where he has to get rid of the ball or go cross half field in 4 seconds. But then after the 4 seconds, obviously he can keep it. Maybe you make it the same with the sixth attacker. Maybe just make it the same rule. I don't know.
And I think a good way to gauge that is to have a preseason. Like maybe have 1 or 2 games for each team. Maybe have Rochester playing Utica and then Utica playing Rochester.
Yeah.
And Baltimore and Harrisburg and to kind of try some things out and then say, all right, here's what we're gonna do.
Yeah, you mean not try it in the playoffs?
No, not start it in the playoffs, which is another thing with replay. I'm not gonna get into it, but I think replay should be a constant thing.
I think it. Yeah, I don't know if I like the challenge thing as much. The way they have, I don't know.
I like the idea of the challenge. I wish the league went more into what it's for. Because we saw a lot of gray areas when it came to the challenge flag. We saw teams throwing it out, and then the refs going, it's not challengeable.
Right.
We saw flags thrown out, and then the refs like, you might want to put it back in your pocket.
Like, wait a minute. You throw it out, you should lose it, unless it's seriously not challengeable.
Yeah, and that happened. That did happen, I think, in the first game of Kansas City, Ontario. I think Stokic threw it out, and Ryan Sigich said it's not challengeable. Well,
Yeah.
you guys had a call, and you said, like, this stuff is challengeable.
Well,
I think
yeah.
there needs to be more clarity.
More clarity on it needs to be like you can't have a call Monday for a game starting on Thursday and expect everyone to know the rules, or maybe that was even a Wednesday game that week. Because that was the one in yeah, they had the call Monday for the game in Dallas that was before the playoffs, so that was a weekend game. But still, it's I like to see
this needs to be thought of a little longer than a week,
right. And I don't want to hear.
I like the idea of replay. I like the idea of challenges, one per team, started at the beginning of the year.
Yep. I also like the idea of goal judges for every game. I mean, that's something that should have been there for years. We've talked about this a little bit before. You can pay a youth ref $50 a game to take care of that. Sell 6 more corn dogs, you'd be fine.
Well, teams need to start selling corn dogs.
Yeah,
first.
see, that's an issue. When we talk to the commissioner, we're not going to mess around with stuff like scoring or rules. We're going to go right to the heart of the matter and talk about corn dogs. You have my word.
Yeah. But what's down here? Wait, what's down here?
This?
Yeah. Oh.
I love that. That's cool.
Yeah, that is neat.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Adam says 2 challenges per game in the final 5 minutes of the halftime. Refs need to huddle and determine if a review is needed. Of the halves, not halftime. Of the halves, the ref needs to huddle and determine if a review is needed. So there was a rule in there that the referee always has the discretion to challenge something. What's that?
I think it was 2 minutes. I think it was 2 minutes of each quarter.
I heard three different things. I heard once the challenge flags are gone, then the refs can do it at any time. I heard 2 minutes, and I heard at any time.
More clarity.
More clarity. And more clarity. And more clarity. And publish it so the fans can read it. Fans know, I mean, some fans know where the rule book is. I look at it every year when they make rule changes. I refer to it every year when we talk about some of these weird things like the 6th attacker thing we talked about with Eric and things like that.
Yeah.
I know a lot of fans don't, but I also know a lot of like announcers and teams don't either, which is not good.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
Right now, I mean, after we say goodnight, I'm gonna go to bed.
I think that's probably a good idea.
And give COVID shots all day tomorrow.
That sounds fun. So I got my first the Wednesday before the Thursday playoff games, and I was out of commission for 2 days. I got my next one on the 28th. Along with my wife. My 2 kids are getting theirs tomorrow. Their first one's tomorrow. And it seems to be like a surplus of COVID shots in Wisconsin.
Yeah, it's like that. They've opened it up to everyone here in New York. And
yeah, it's opened up to everyone over 16 right here.
We're starting to see a lot more appointments. I mean, so I've been a certified immunizer for a week now.
Yay!
So the first last week after I got back. So I got back on a Sunday, and I had Monday off. On Tuesday, they had me start doing immunizations. And then Wednesday and Thursday were our big days where we had 84 each day. So I ended up doing 30 to 35 of them each day. And I think tomorrow we have appointments up until like 6 o'clock when I leave.
Oh.
So I'm pretty much going to be responsible for all of the vaccines tomorrow, I think. I don't know yet.
The problem with showing people that you're good at something is that they ask you to do it again.
Yeah. They tell me a lot of things I don't like to hear. Like, oh, I didn't feel a thing, or that's it.
Yeah. Maybe try the bigger drill bit next time.
I probably should. I've actually hit a bone or two.
Oh,
Fun fact: if you get hit, if you have a shot and it hits your bone, you don't feel it. The person giving the shot does, but you
wow.
don't.
I would think you would feel that.
Nope, you don't. I can feel it. Like when I gave a shot, inject it, and then you feel like it's hard. Like you're injecting it into like like the pavement or something. You're like, oh, and then you just drop back a little bit.
You have any metal in your body? No. Well,
Yeah.
now you do.
and you don't say anything. You don't go, oh
Yeah.
shit, I hit the bone.
All right, we should probably say goodbye to everyone before we go off on a tangent. So,
Corn dog, do you have anything to say?
oh wait.
Corn dogs, Jackie. Corn dogs for all these people.
All right, everyone. Have a great night. Thanks for staying with us. Enjoy the finals. Games are Friday night at 7:05 Pacific Daylight Time, which is
that's so late.
it's going to be so late, and then Sunday the 18th at 3:05 Pacific Daylight Time.
Ooh.
So that'll be a good time.
I'll be able to watch both of them Sunday right when I get out of work too.
Yeah.
So work.
So I have this new thing I'm going to try, and then we will sign off. Everyone have a good night.
See ya.